Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Nomofsky. Today's episode, we're discussing will writers, executors, beneficiaries. Get ready. Before we went to break, we were talking about messages for will writers. And I think one of the key things, too, is there are so many blended families right now that it's imperative to have a will, because now you've got children coming in from one side, both sides, and then you've got a lot of dual citizens as well. Is your spouse American? Is he Canadian? Is he, from another country? So wills are super, super important, especially in those situations.
Absolutely. And just coincidentally, I was speaking with a friend yesterday, and she had a friend whose mother, after her original first husband died, she remarried. She remarried a man who also was remarrying. And then, but they hadn't had a chance to update their wills. So she died within like 2 months, and then her assets rolled over to him. And then he died, and his children basically took all of what really belonged to her assets, not leaving anything. So this is something where I almost think that go from the wedding ceremony, if you're decided to have a ceremony, and then go and update your wills, because you don't want to leave people that you've loved unprotected, because some people don't seem to have, as you were saying, morals and ethics are really important to an executor and to the person that you're choosing to look after whoever you would like to leave your money to.
And that's really important. So let's continue on with the messages. Now you've got messages for executors.
Executors. So the first executor, most people would say, my first advice to somebody who has been asked to be an executor is don't be an executor. But the fact is, you need to be in some cases. It is an honor, and it's very important to having the person who has died live on.
Because you're representing them.
Absolutely. So I would say what's important is to have discussions, whereas apart from just saying, okay, yes, of course, I would be your executor, to say, okay, let's go through what needs to be done to get ready, to make sure that I can, manage things smoothly, that we don't have surprises. And you had mentioned earlier about that the title, Wouter may have mentioned earlier that the title on a property hadn't been changed. And these are all these little things that kind of get forgotten along the way and can really delay the processing of an estate. So one is make sure if you're going to be an executor that you prepare your boss, your will maker. The other thing is to understand what your responsibilities are, and they're kind of common sense, which is act without any personal self-interest, to make sure that all of the debts are paid. That's really important, both to financial institutions and so on, but also to the tax. The tax one is the worst because it's important, but you do not want to have somebody coming after you for taxes years after the fact, which is why one of the most important things to do is to make sure that you do insist that you get a tax clearance certificate. The other thing I think is to help them understand, just making sure that you've got everything prepared. The website, the website, sorry. The internet, no, exactly. All of their passwords and so on and so forth.
All their social media, everything that they have that they've been using along.
I do think that it can be good to make sure that your children or the other people that care for you know who that executor is and know who to go to. One person, and the other thing this book has is a number of tips. So one of them was that when this person goes on vacation, she leaves a copy of the latest will with a close neighbor and a trusted friend, and therefore there's not going to be the same kind of scuttling around trying to find out where the will is, or go to the bank. But if you don't have the will, the bank won't let you in and into the account. So that's one of the I think the important things to do is have that discussion.
We actually have a mutual friend who, when she went on vacation, she had an ailing cat.
Yes.
And we all had copies of the will to make sure that her cat was well taken care of if something happened to her while she was away.
Right. That's exactly it. There's a lot more to be thinking about than most people thought, partly because we moved into different provinces. You were mentioning before also about and I wanted to come back to, if you married somebody, for example, from the States, well, and quite a number of Canadians have homes, second homes in the States. And if those are not taken into account within 9 months and that you have kind of declared this, then you could be subject to a very big amount of American taxes. So you need to find out all of these different things.
And we also need to make sure that our pets are really well taken care of when we go, because we don't want our furry family to go to a shelter or anything. So think about that. We'll be right back.